Sorry,
It's in progress now. So, hey, Ecki, thank you for being here.
Julien.
I think everybody
Thanks for
knows,
having me.
but maybe not used to seeing you or me actually in person. That's true. So, yeah, I think it would be probably a better format, or at least a bit different. We don't do these things. We always do articles and stuff. I think it could be a bit more dynamic, perhaps.
Yes, I was considering wearing masks, but then decided against it. And here we are. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you again for being here. You know what? The first thing I want to say, it's not even a question, it's to get your reaction. 20 years. 20 years. Isn't that something?
It's a bit incredible, I must say. I mean, I joined the company in 2007, and back then it was already clear that it's becoming a bit bigger, let's say.
Uh-huh.
But 20 years in that area of the market is quite remarkable, to put it mildly. Um, I mean,
That's good to
it's
hear.
a
Yeah.
from this era of early web games, browser games, yeah, to still have that crowd around, and yeah, indeed, 20 years, we're in a rather exclusive club there. Yes, with
I think
Travian.
so because especially when you consider that after 20 years the game is not relegated to a small cryptic audience. It's still really healthy with big massive servers. It's really unusual. Mm.
Yeah. Yes, of course, and I'm also super grateful for that. That we still have players coming to the servers. They still appreciate what we're doing in the game. And therefore, yes, of course, it's not a given. But when a server opens, it's like I often compare it to a soccer match. You never know exactly how it goes, the server. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's also the fascination, or one of the reasons why people join. They meet their friends there. Yeah, they contact each other up front, and hey, let's start there.
Mm.
And okay, didn't turn out that well, so let's start the next server. Or they just join in a year again, and that's how it happens usually.
So, are you okay to tell us a bit more about yourself, like a bit more private things about yourself? Where you're
Oh,
from,
okay.
when you started? I'm curious to know
Yeah.
myself a bit again, your Travian experience, but what you did before, etc.
Yes. So I'm 100% game director. Therefore there's no privacy, no private life. No, of course I'm kidding. Yeah, my name is Eckhart. Most people call me Ecki. I'm in the company, as I just hinted, 2000 since 2007, and I have a background in yeah. Actually, fun fact about me is that I did a training as a carpenter. Then I studied sociology. And as a student, I already worked in a computer games magazine here in Germany that was quite popular back then. And of course, I mean, I played a lot, mostly on the PC and the PS2. Um, but yeah, that's basically when I finished with my study, I started working for a bank. That was not exactly my cup of tea, and therefore I quit there. And then joined Travian Games in
So
2007,
you're German, but are you 100% Bayern?
and not 100%.
Okay.
I was born in Freiburg. It's
Okay.
Fribourg. It's in the south of Germany, like Black Forest area. But I moved here when I was like 2 years old. I got moved, and
That's
since
pretty
then I
solid
live indeed.
Bayern background, though. Yeah.
I think it's almost valid. Yeah, indeed. I have a Bayern pass. Yeah,
So when you
exactly.
joined in 2007, what was your position back then?
I joined as the product manager for a game called Travians. It was still in development when I joined. It was a spin-off of Travian. I would call it a social adventure game. You could, yeah, you had a house and you could furnish it. You could invite friends, and there was also a storyline throughout the game that somehow structured the time that players spent there. That you could have an adventure each and every day. Unfortunately, it discontinued, but when I started, I became the product manager for that game and also helped it to bring it to life. We had a huge cooperation with one of the yeah really big TV outlets here in Germany, ProSieben. And yeah, that was my start. And afterwards, like 1 year later, I became um, the area lead basically for games, head of games. And so managing all the games that got started there. And it was, yeah, really a very exciting time. When I started, the company consisted of 12 people, but then we saw this massive growth over the next couple of years. Exactly, but in 2013, I think it was exactly, I stepped back a bit and became the first also product manager for Travian, and then the game director. The role got a bit changed
Uh,
from product manager more to a
Product
holistic.
manager is a good school to start on a game, I think.
Exactly, exactly,
And for those who
and
didn't notice the color of our beards, yes, we're both seniors. You have a serious background of gaming now.
exactly,
Mm.
exactly. Yes.
I think people would probably like to know a bit the size of your team, what it consists of, because there's a lot of different jobs that are completely independent from each other that are needed to come up with, in the end, a whole. So can you tell us a bit who you have in your team and what they do?
Yes, yes, of course. First of all, I would like to explain a bit. I mean, running a game consists of a lot of aspects, of course. You have to not only run it, that means putting it on servers, releasing, making sure that it runs fluently, that players can reach it 24/7. And of course, it also means development. That's one of the key bits, of course, of our daily work life. But it also contains payment and such. Yeah. So what we really have in the game center as teams is the core of it. I would say the technical operation and the development, and that starts usually with game design and also UX design. I mean, this is very closely together because it is really about the player experience, what's a feature all about. Then, of course, the developers itself that really do the user stories that are written, and then the testers, the XAP team, as we call them, that really make sure that everything is in shape and yeah, best quality delivered. We have art, a couple of artists, and also UI art to make the user interface nice and shiny. And of course, we also have the mobile team. Yeah, that's not completely different. It's a bit different technology, but there's also UX design developers in that case for Unity, and somebody who's assuring the quality, a member of the XAP team also. But of course, we also have project lead, product manager, all kinds of managerial staff to organize the whole shop and also bring the bigger scope, the roadmap to the people. Like, okay, really, how do we slice topics into like smaller parts that we can actually develop them and bring them live at the desired point in time. Yeah.
So that's the core of it. That's really the game team because next to it you have customer support and people taking care of marketing and other stuff. Obviously,
Exactly.
the core
For
of the
example,
to run
also
it.
payment team,
Yeah, of course.
for example, is not in our game center itself. Sorry, I forgot one thing. We have also live operation support. That are the guys in that case, actually the guys who really take care about everything that is a bit beyond customer service in terms of like they cannot solve it. So they have access to the database, can look into things a bit more. And okay, if they cannot solve it, it's a job for the developer. Yeah.
For those who know, those are the ones who help us to extract game data for game event, for example,
For
and
example, exactly.
graphics on the blog
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Yeah. This year, Ecki, was honestly, I think you can really consider more hectic than usual with all the stuff that you developed on the game. I mean, literally the lobby, the big annual special with a big new tribe, so from the scratch, a whole bunch of stuff. The
Yeah.
which is ready now. We will be pushing it globally very soon. So can you tell us a bit what that implies? Because it's a bit massive, honestly.
Yes, that's true. So the lobby, I mean, I try to when we talk to the players from time to time on Discord, I already tried to explain it. It's really a huge project. I mean, for the players, it might not seem so big, but there a lot of things belong to that in the background, of course. And for us, it was really extremely important to unify the experience on mobile, on browser, of course, and bring it to the same stage and also make players' life actually also a bit easier that they don't have to register for each and every server new, but they can easily access the servers. What it still means is there's a lot of work left that we want to do and that we also have to do on the lobby. Of course, the first step was now to bring it out in a format that it actually works, that everybody can merge legacy servers or link legacy servers, that you can access all your servers via the lobby. But of course, we have tons of ideas and ourselves, but also suggestions from the players what they'd like to see in the lobby, midterm, long term. And yeah, that's of course part of the program for the future also. That's about to come. Um, but
But the idea
also
was to bring something, the structure working, because it's a massive job already, but open for many additions because it's true, you can
exactly,
do a lot with it.
yes, exactly. So that's really the very close to what we call the minimum viable product in
Mhm.
terms of, okay, it couldn't have been much less to release it. Yeah. And but of course, when we were done with it, we immediately had to jump on the annual special to also get this done on time. I mean, that's always a huge challenge to be done on the 5th of September. We started due to the birthday of Travian on the 5th of September, and therefore we really could not add a lot of more things. Exactly. So this is definitely something that we will add in the future. But you also asked, okay, what does it mean? Of course, we have the Vikings. We now have the first experience with the Vikings from the annual special servers. And of course, we will look into that very diligently and see, okay, what did players like? What would they maybe like to see improved? Because for sure, we will make use of content from the annual special later on. And of course, like every year, we need to decide what exactly, how exactly, what should be tweaked, and what we will just yeah integrate into the next specials or maybe even into the vanilla version. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that was some year. It's true. I mean, it's been also very interesting to work on all these topics. I myself wondered, regularly, how do you manage all these different projects together at the same time, involving different people, making sure that they all come out at the right time? It's game director business, I guess, after all, right?
Yeah, there I really have to play the humble card, but I'm absolutely honest there. I could not do it. I'm really honest. I mean, my job is basically to say we need to have that by then, and then I really have an awesome team of people getting together. Of course, I mean I give the direction and also the what's basically desirable or what makes sense. When should go things together. But I think in general we are a great team. Also in terms of supporting each other really with aspects one might have forgotten, like, okay, but if we just come out there, you're aware that like 2 weeks after we have this and that.
Mm.
And to really get all our brains on the table and exactly execute such a plan then, and especially also split it into doable tasks and sew them together afterwards is mostly really the job of project management, project lead, scrum master, all of that, these functions, product management, also the developers wrapping their heads around the requirements, thinking, okay, can we make this easier, a bit cheaper, faster? All of that. UX game design is heavily involved in these questions. Really, basically everybody. And but I agree. Sometimes it also to me it also seems like a miracle that at the end, I mean, the start of the lobby count was a very good example, and I was really like, oof,
Yeah.
okay, it really
Okay.
seems to work in general. I mean, of course, we had a couple of hiccups here and there, but considering degree of the project, I think it was a very smooth launch. And I mean, we also see how many accounts got created by now.
Yeah, that would
In
be an
general,
interesting
that
question I have. It's like everybody has a lobby account now. It's fully being deployed, let's say, in this regard.
I really think that most players that considers themselves being active have a lobby account by now. I still hope that we have some potential, and of course, after we release the respawn feature, for example, everywhere where we really say, okay, this is let's say officially we eradicate the need for respawning by creating a second lobby account. I think then we also have a better picture of okay, um, how many accounts do we actually have that are live, like living accounts? Yeah.
So, in terms of players' feedback, because I know you've been working with you for a couple of years, it's a big part of what you do, what you decide. It taints a lot of the direction that you take the game into. I say it because I've seen it. I'd like you to explain a bit how you handle the community feedback in general,
Yeah.
how you decide to evaluate it, how much it should influence something that you're very decided,
Yeah.
how you prioritize it, or eventually how you decide yourself, okay, this calls for community feedback before any other
Mhm.
move is made. I'm interested in
Yeah.
that.
Yes, community feedback is a blessing and a curse at the same time. I'm
Mhm.
brutally blunt here,
Yeah.
because of course we need it, and on the other hand, it also raises the expectation, of course, that we do it immediately, that we do it exactly as players wished. And the point that I always try to explain here is that it's not that easy, and that is because A, players don't speak with one voice. Now, sometimes lots of players write on Discord, yes, why didn't they do this or that, or we're asking for such a long time. But if you look really into the detailed suggestions or what players actually wish for, you see, okay, this player is aiming to that with that suggestion and a suggestion that might seem very similar or very same, but is actually different and would lead to a different result. Yeah, that's one thing why it's so hard to take really one to one the suggestions and just say, okay, we do it like this, yeah. And on the other hand, it's also we have an agenda with the game. Yeah, we have an idea about the game. What is it? What is it also not? And I mean, we've seen there are some examples of, let's say, purely community-driven games where it's only about, okay, the community makes suggestions and developers do it. And usually they're not very successful because it becomes a collage of the likings of different people. Yeah, and it's not like a holistic picture that you usually end up with. Yeah?
Okay,
That's being
interesting
said,
point. Huh? It's very
yeah,
interesting because I think most
yeah.
people overlook that aspect, I think. Mhm.
At least they say, I think most people of course feel that their opinion is so obvious that it's hard for like to grasp, okay, why is this not happening? And I mean I know this from myself with other products or something where I say, okay, why doesn't Samsung or Apple doesn't do this or that? It's super obvious, yeah.
The
um
clear example to that is when you and me we think of a feature and we say, okay, let's consult the elite about that, hoping that we're going to
yeah,
get one formulated remark, and we go and speak with them, and everybody has a different opinion. Meaning it's still
exactly,
interesting
yeah,
to see who
yeah,
thinks what, but then
yeah,
you have to filter it and
yeah,
process the feedback. It's true, it's not a
exactly.
organic thing.
Yeah, but still, I mean, I think the community feedback is extremely valuable, and this is not like a lip service. I think we've already also done in the past a lot of things that came really up in the community from the community, and where we maybe tweaked a couple of aspects to make it more fitting to yeah the game that we run that we see. Yeah. But we also sometimes implemented changes or wishes from the change requests from the community just as they were asked because we thought,
Quality of
okay,
life is
great idea.
yes. Yeah.
Let's just do it.
Mhm.
Exactly. I think one of the challenges is, of course, that you have to think about the game as a whole. Yeah. Often players, of course, also have an idea out of a situation. Yeah? They stumble into a situation and they say, "Wow, that does not feel good. I would like to have this and that." But instead of voicing that they don't have a good experience in such a that in that moment, they jump to the conclusion of how should it be differently.
Yeah.
And that is often the part where we really have to involve game design and think about, okay, what's the actual core demand of the player in that moment, and not so much think about the concrete suggestion, but what is the problem to solve, and not so much, okay, is it good or a bad suggestion? And yeah, and that's the point. And the other thing is, of course, also that we sometimes also need to be careful to balance or moderate the interests of all players. Yeah? We have sometimes very vocal players on Discord, for example, that are very convincing. But if these are the only voices you hear, you might be a bit, yeah, the feedback is a bit skewed in terms of the only, yeah, you get a bias basically. Yeah?
I think in the
And
gaming world, every player, like soccer fans, all soccer fan is a soccer coach in,
exactly,
and
exactly.
everybody's a game designer. In short, it's a bit like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that it's impossible or that it's rocket science, only we can do it, and it's a
Oh, of course.
mystery and a miracle. But indeed, it requires some experience and also experience as a player, of course. But you have to think about the edge cases, yeah, about player groups, about systems, and not so much then about situations you don't like. No, exactly. And that's the thing. So what I want to say is the player feedback is beside pure data and beside, of course, what we see in the tickets, stuff like this, is an influx of ideas, of information, of impulse. Yeah? And so it has its weight and its priority. But of course, it's not the only thing. We also have an idea and an agenda for the game. And so we, of course, try to make the best out of both worlds. That we say, okay, what ideas can we really do well, and maybe even integrate it into other projects we anyway had on the plate, or that we're trying to expand, stuff like that, so that it really flows together. Yeah. I mean, the best example is probably the quality of life initiative, where
Yeah,
we
that's
really reserve a spot and say, okay, let's really do things players ask for, players wish for a very long time, partially, and
I
dedicate
think
that.
the last one I've seen being developed were practically 100% players made. It's true.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
The app is in a pretty good shape, literally. I mean, for everything that's in the app, I think it's perfectly flawless, and it's about to be even better, bigger. I would like you to tell us what you think the complete final release of the app, which is really coming around the corner, what it will change for the existing current player of Legends.
Yeah, I think the app is a great way to play conveniently on the go, to really have a mobile experience in your pocket. Yeah, I mean we have the mobile browser version, but now we have the mobile app that's way more designed to cater the needs of a mobile audience. Yeah, so
Yeah.
we already had a lot of mobile usage on the mobile browser in the past, because of course the game uh, demands that you just briefly look into it, that you build resources, that you dev briefly, that you call for dev briefly, stuff like that. And the app is, I think, really a great pillar in that game experience, that you say, okay, this is really an alternative. I can play it conveniently if I'm at the supermarket in the queue. Um, exactly. So this is, of course, also the app is ready to be released. Still, there's also some way to go to, of course, get the players' feedback also on that. The performance is a topic we definitely want to look into. We still need to add the specials, but we are also very confident that we can do this soon. And therefore, yes, there's still a way to go, but also I consider the app as a very strong asset. I mean, we talked for years about it. Should we do it? Should we do it? It was a very big challenge indeed for us as a team to have this legacy code really refactored in a way over years that we were even able to produce an app. That was really a huge project, a huge task, and now it's out. I'm really excited, and of course, what we also aim for is to get former players back into the game through the app because they might see it on the app stores. It's just a great marketplace for players.
So let me interrupt you
And
for a second. A common feedback in the community about the app, beyond
Mhm.
the aspect of yes, it's ergonomic, it's useful,
Mhm.
it's easy, it's a good alternative to the game in many situations, is we're going to see new players eventually. They're interested in that,
Mhm.
obviously. New players mean more fun, more tournaments, more etc.
Mhm.
Is that a legit expectation or?
Um, yes and no. I mean, the point is, um, what I hope mostly for, like in the very first step, is returning players, players that in general know Travian, what Travian is about, um, and they return and say, okay, there's an app for Travian. Oh, how exciting! I'll have a look. But of course, I also agree everything that happens in the App Store, and if we're able to catch some attraction, like to attract some players. We of course will be also better in the algorithm and seen by more players even. And this will also attract completely new players. And therefore, I'm also, of course, looking forward to that. But of course, for completely new players, the app is probably difficult in the very beginning because we don't have a tutorial yet. So to explain the game, you have to have a bit of grit, let's say, to really stick to the app and work your way through. Um, and yeah, but of course, I mean, we also will find this audience in the app stores. I'm absolutely sure. But yeah, Travian Legends does not become a classical casual mobile title, let's say,
I
just because
really
we have an
think
app.
there's no worse combination of words in the same sentence than legends and
Yeah,
casual together. That's true. It's a
exactly.
very demanding game. It's very punishing. It's very
Yeah,
That's where the fun comes from in the end.
yeah,
Um, Talking about legends, honestly, we would not be able to talk about legends if we did not talk about balancing a bit. This is the number one topic everybody has always
yeah,
in every channel possible.
yeah.
Uh, how do you feel about the current, let's say, the vanilla balancing in general, not the attempts we've done in community week servers, for example, and stuff, but how do you perceive it to you? How would you rank the what you consider it to be a good or bad balancing in general? I'm very curious to see because they couldn't be more different voices coming together when it's about balancing.
Yeah. My answer to that, I guess it will surprise players that are very that have a strong opinion about that, is that I really consider it as a good balancing.
Huh?
Um, it's probably not perfect, but I really consider it as good. Um, doesn't mean that uh, there is no room for improvement, but my take on that is really we have a lot of people who play the tribes that are considered that they need to have a buff, yeah, on the servers. They're quite popular and they also make it into the upper ranks.
Mhm.
And therefore, my take on that is really okay, as long as that's the case, I really don't see a point in changing it. Um, yeah, actually, because the reason why, I mean, the point is if you're bothered by the balancing of these tribes, I really recommend to pick another tribe, yeah? And to say, okay, it's not my cup of tea. Um, there are seemingly lots of players who play these tribes. and that also are quite successful. And that's a bit the reason why we are so, let's say, hesitant, or let's say careful in assessing the situation. I get it. I mean, I also heard it in the talks that players cannot even wrap their head around the fact that we haven't changed it already drastically. No? Um, I also would not completely exclude that we don't do this in the future, but it's not as strong that I say, okay, this really has to be changed immediately and this has a super high priority. We're definitely observing the situation. We're looking into the data. We're looking at the end rankings of servers, also in between, and how many players play that tribe in general. So that, of course, is a ratio you have to make. Yeah?
The Romans get a
Uh,
pretty bad rap, but we still see a lot of them in the top three, top five on
exactly.
five tribe
Yeah.
servers. That's true.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Yeah. Um, exactly, and that's a point. I mean, we also had a similar discussion with okay, small servers, big servers. I get that players prefer a really big server, so like the competitive players, of course, prefer a really big server. But there are also players who like smaller servers, and therefore, yes, you should just pick what you like in general in life. Yeah.
True, I agree. We're gonna have to take a small break and restart
Yes.
the call. So I would say I pick you up in a minute.
Perfect.
Thank you, Ecki.
See you.
It's better to stop before it stops for us. Zoom, you know.
Okay.
All right. Um, yes. So we were talking of this balancing. This is yeah, this is a massive topic. Honestly, I think we could cover a couple of hours of sessions just on that.
Probably. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Now tell me, if you had to pick one single element from the game that you think most of the game success is depending on, what do you think it is?
I think it's the degree of freedom you have, and so it's hard. It's not really an element of the game, but it comes with the gameplay, how the game is designed. Um, I think that's pretty unique. Maybe not unique, but very rare. That you're not in a kind of funnel and you can only do this and that. But I think you can. I mean, you have really very yeah, very high degree of freedom in general in the game to do what you want in terms of attacking, negotiating, stuff like this. Yeah, this direct interaction between players that comes with that, and that you not only have like buttons where you say, okay, I confirm this, I disconfirm that, but that it's really worth to write to a player and ask him, hey, please stop attacking me. I will give you a couple of resources per week, and then that's it. These kind of things. Yeah.
It's
That.
funny because that's what I have to do very often.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
plead with that. Please pick on someone else, at least for a couple of days. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I also speak from experience, of
Mhm.
course, but I think that's really what makes Legends special, and that's also one of the strong elements that players really like. Yeah.
Is there one specific aspect or a one type of number that you look at when you see a server that makes you say, okay, this is what we can consider a successful server?
Yeah, that's rather easy. It's
Mhm.
usually the registrations during the first 15 to 20 minutes
Okay.
that I really see. Okay, the rate of it's a bit like a if you turn on a faucet
Mhm.
that you say, okay, this is the pressure that players come in, and of course, I mean that also determines to a huge extent um, how well players will stick to the server, how much action will be on the server, and so
So
this is
really
quite a
that
good
quick, yeah?
indicator.
Even on a one-time speed server, really the first 20 minutes, they are really detrimental to what will be after that?
It gives a good idea.
Okay.
Yes, it gives a good idea. I mean, sometimes we also have like a bigger or not so big impact of the email campaign afterwards. This can be also, yeah, have an impact that's not visible in the first 20 minutes maybe. But in general, it gives a good idea where you roughly uh, stand, yeah, with that server. Yeah.
Can we share a couple of numbers about that massive international 30 that just got released? There was registrations within a few minutes that were impressive, huh?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, we surpassed the 1,000 registrations after 3 minutes. And that was really a very strong indicator. I mean, that's usually
Hmm.
something that happens after half an hour, maybe. And that's a good server start, yeah, after half an hour.
Hmm.
And yeah, it was just crazy. I mean, the graph of registrations in our chart was really like a wall, just vertical going up. And yeah, haven't seen that in quite a while, like such a server. I mean, we
Wow.
used to um, successful servers, especially end of September. That's a time when players really consider, okay, it gets a bit more cold outside. It gets dark more early.
Mhm.
So why not make another round to Travian? So this is really something that we see every year. Of course, we have the summer dip, and that's usually often the time when players really come back. And but we've rarely seen one server where everything was really condensed like that. And I mean, I'm of course also excited that this server got created, or let's say got scheduled, also due to community feedback, that it
Mhm.
would be really great
Yeah.
to have such a server in that spot, and that we made it happen, and that it really worked, and people, yeah, basically told, okay, we're going to play there. Let's get the crew together. And then alliance by alliance confirmed their participation already up front. But of course, you never know.
Mm.
I always compare it to the New Year's Eve party. If many people say, okay, I join, more people will say, okay, I join. But
Mhm.
if the first people say, okay, I actually don't join, then it's also like happening easily. The first people say, okay. Next people say, okay, that's no
I've had the
problem.
chance to work on the preparation of the server, and it felt like I think it was on the 20th that it opened that all the stars were
Mhm.
aligned properly.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was a real pleasure to see that.
It
So
was really the perfect storm on
yeah,
that day. Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely.
We said it. The year was super busy, but in a way productive because you can be busy by itself, but you can be also productive. And I think your team was extremely productive. We mentioned the lobby; it's a massive structure. We mentioned the app; it's the same. The Vikings; it's a brand new tribe. Maybe you can tell us a bit about 2025. Anything you guys are working on?
Yes, at least in the concept phase, or
Mhm.
like thinking ahead. I mean, one part that will definitely keep us busy is the lobby, as I already mentioned, and everything that belongs to that. We still have legacy avatars out there. I mean, this is what we call avatars that are not linked, or that might be linked to a lobby account, but that haven't accessed the old way to the game boards, yeah, before we release the lobby.
Mhm.
So we need to wait also until they run out for a couple of changes. But yeah, we're currently thinking about, okay, what should be included in the next iteration of the lobby, um, and yeah, when to bring that to life. For sure, we also will prepare the regular events like the New Year special that usually includes aspects, elements from the annual special, but also something um, maybe a bit tweaked to the yeah, configuration so far. And yeah, then we also have some administrative topics that might not be too visible for the community, but that are still super important. We're currently reshaping the structure, how we run the game technically in the background a bit. Um, exactly. But yeah, I mean, the players can look forward to for sure to an exciting annual special in September. And of course, tons of events that will always be with changes and tweaks here and there to make the gameplay new, fresh, and exciting, of course. Yeah.
The game is more or less, I mean, there's a very solid set of vanilla servers frequently, but it's organized around a few main pillars, let's say, and which the community adheres to more or less. So we have, for example, New Year special. We have now the
Mhm.
community week, which turned out to be something also as a permanent addition, positive. The
Exactly.
tournament is a super important event, annual special. Would you consider maybe to either reshuffle the moment out of the year where they come out or add something to the routine or?
Um, Potentially, yes.
Mhm.
One must say that the current schedule is more thought through than it might seem at first. So we really try to start the events in a way that servers are also over when until the next big event starts, so that people also have a chance to catch up. Not only one big event, of course.
Mhm.
Um, I really like the current flow of like bigger events and not so big events. Like the community week is something we do like in between. We have the local servers also. I mean, of course, that's like not really a huge event, but still it's a community configured server usually. Yeah, that players really have a say in what they're gonna get. So this mix of big events like the tournament, like the New Year special, annual special, plus the bit smaller events, I think is quite beneficial, so that everybody can pick a bit, yeah, his or her size of event and that we have on the agenda. And it also adds quite a lot of variety, of
Mhm.
course, to the annual flow that we provide to the players. Yeah.
And talking of which, I don't even know. Are you more of a World Wonder guy, type of guy, or a region? What's your favorite poison?
Definitely World Wonder.
Uh-huh.
I usually play the annual special more for testing purposes. So
Mhm.
to see, okay, is everything smooth? Does everything work? So I maintain an account usually, but not seriously. And yeah, that's mainly the point. So World Wonder, definitely, yes.
I would say I'm a New Year special kind of guy. I like the patchwork
Okay.
and also the
Hmm.
time of the year where it comes out. It's
Hmm.
really the thing that I really enjoyed.
It fits
The
well.
most important question that I would like to ask you, it's probably not easy to answer, to be honest, but I would like you to tell me in just one single word how you would describe the community.
One word.
Yeah, if possible.
Yeah, I mean, in German, we have this thing that you can chain words together, you know.
Oh, okay. Convenient in this
Therefore,
case. Yeah.
exactly, it's convenient. But in English, I think that it's yeah, describing it in one word, it would be awesome, indeed.
Okay. Mhm.
Sounds a bit bland, but it is like this. I truly feel about the community just yeah like this because I think it's amazing what players are capable of to organize, to come up with, to pull off. Yeah. I mean, we have a lot of community-driven initiatives seen over the last years. Um, Quite some tools. I mean, if you start to look into the web, okay, Excel files here, websites there.
Yeah.
I think that's quite amazing. And
Stuff we use internally as well, huh?
exactly,
It's true.
exactly stuff we use internally as well.
Mhm.
And I think that shows what potential, like what energy the game is
Yeah.
capable to wake up,
Mhm.
basically, yeah, and to bring to people's minds. But at the end, it's the players that yeah make it happen, and therefore, yes, awesome is really the case. And the other part is also every time I met players in the past, it was always extremely pleasant and very impressive to hear, okay, how deep they are into the game, into the community, how long they play already. stuff like that. I mean, truly seeing this like unfolded as a hobby in one's life. People that got married because when they met each other on Travian, stuff like that. I mean, all of that belongs to this story, and therefore I'm extremely grateful, and I'm also excited to work having the chance to work on a game with such an active and yeah, diverse community. Yeah, that's really
You say
great.
awesome, which is great. I would say personally positive, and in both cases, I have to be honest. It's partly based on the fact that I think the community knows how respectful you are towards it and how the game in general is. And I really think why they can be so constructive. Obviously, they let us know really quickly when they don't like something, and that's
Yeah,
not to be expected. But the way they participate and the way they're easy to interact with, I think it's partly a mirror of how, okay, we know we're taken seriously and we're appreciated. I think.
I'm glad that you say it. I hope it's the case. And yeah, I really try to make the best out of the job. That's like meant seriously in terms of like really serving the game, serving the company, of course, but that also means not also, but that means at first serving the players, because without the players we would not exist. Yeah, I think that's for sure. Yeah.
Well, would you want to tell something directly to the community? Anything at all? Like, imagine I'm not here, you get to speak to them all. What would that be?
That would be thanks for sticking with us for such a long time. It's great to have you around. We're doing our best to serve you with fresh content, with exciting specials, and yeah, to many, many more years.
Ecki, thank you so much. I say it, I insist again because you're a busy man. It's true, you got a lot of people working for you, a lot of stuff to do. So thank you for taking the time to do this interview, to come with us, but just once a month, at least with the Elite directly. I think everybody really appreciates that. So thanks again, really.
Thank you very much for preparing everything. Julien, see you.
Bye bye,
Thank
Ecki.
you.
Bye.
Bye.